Hey everybody, Rhadamant here. Thanks for tuning in to episode 60 of Black Lake Settlers. Before I get going, you all should go vote. You don't need anything but a Google account to vote. If you'd like to vote, just hop on Rhadamant.com for the voting form or Discord in the announcements section. So if you go and vote, thank you for voting. I'm looking forward to seeing what you vote for. And a recap of last week's voted goals. So I crossed off craft better weapons. I did make about something like 4 miniguns, and I do plan on making more weapons anyway, but I think I've made enough to cross that goal off. And then I redesigned the kill box to be a giant easy bake oven. And if you have already seen the long-term goal of strip mine and outpost, I sort of crossed it off. I crossed about half of it off because I'm about half done with it. And I wanted to find some way to denote that I'm half done with it. So there you go. It looks a little weird, but there you go. All right, so let's get started. We left off with a bit of a new refurnishing, meaning that now our rec room is even more rectacular. Let's just pretend that's a word. And we have, let's see, we have a lack of trees on the map now in a radius about this large, which is due to this poison ship. That's sort of the elephant in the room that I have not dealt with yet. And as a result, there is a severe lack of biodiversity here as well. Because there's not a lot of food. So that is something that I need to tackle, and quite soon at that. What I probably end up doing is emptying out the mining outpost, meaning Endelos, Deno, Vex, they all come home, in case that... Oh, what is going on there? Really? In case that well, there's probably a lot of mechs in there, and they're not going to immediately attack. And I do plan on plinking at them. If you're not familiar with that term, it's like target practice from a safe distance with sniper rifles. But at some point, they will get pissed and they will chase me down. Yes. So let's get rolling slowly. I am also going to go over some tips I received. If I can open up my tip file. There wasn't too many. Jared Dummel mentioned that the colonists I have in prison that were colonists, I can just release. Yes. So the reason James was in here was because he was addicted to psychite, and he is in the middle of a catatonic breakdown. I can release him, but he's just going to go straight into the hospital. But that's fine. It's just one less person in the prison. And then Eagle is totally releasable. There is actually no real reason to keep Eagle in there anyway. I was building up her friendships with the wardens. That actually does serve a bit of a purpose. Having a friend can be helpful. Of course, they also go crazy when the friend dies. But yeah. So we have another bionic arm. The temptation to install it in Velik so he gets crafting for more bionics is high. In fact, high enough that that is pretty much exactly what I'm going to do. So I am going to operate on Velik. He's already wounded, so he'll be laying in a hospital bed and resting. You regain hit points 3 times faster in a hospital bed versus laying in a regular bed. Alright, so here is Eagle rejoining the community, making sure that she did not get all screwed up restriction-wise. Let's go and check. Wait, DQ has the old style recreation. Alright, I think he was an exception to that rule. So Eagle here, let's go and find you. You're a good hunter. Oh, yep, you're not screwed up. Perfect. You're all set the way you ought to be. All right, another thing I wanted to do, we have the new implants for the newest recruit who's transhumanist. We got to make those. But the amount of components I have, especially the ones in progress, are kind of ridiculous. I'm going to try to crank some of these out. Ooh, Mega Sloth wants revenge? Maybe you should have tried to take revenge when you were healthy enough for damage here. Because even Bob with the bad back and spine, you're not going to be able to chase down. A whole lot of social fights we get into. Oh, I didn't mean for Deef to make another one. Oh, great. My hunter never hauls. That's not convenient. So at this very moment, I have some muffalo here that are huntable. But given that the home base has plenty of meat, in fact a surplus, I would go so far to say, we could probably recall these guys. However, it would make more sense to send the muffalo back there once again so that we can bring home as much resource as we can. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to form a little caravan. Let's pick Bob because we know he doesn't haul, so I'm going to make him Sherpa instead. And Bob will go join them and caravan some of that stuff back. Another thing I really ought to do, which was the other tip, was Stacy and Handtig mentioned, I have a lot of trade goods. Why not go trade with the nearest neighbor? And that's a pretty fair point. So, with that in mind, I'm going to set all of these fuel targets, say to max distance of 20 tiles. Even though I don't really have the components at the moment, I do want to get pods in them. This will make a lot of sense soon, I promise. I also should prioritize weapons over slag. Ooh, we have a charge rifle here. Because we have so many steel weapons, really crappy condition steel weapons lying around. And we don't really need to be stockpiling them. And they're rotting, so they're actually becoming fewer in number as time goes on. Okay, Indalos, Zero Day, and Chris. Chris has one in progress, but he's a night owl, so he's sleeping. Now, we're growing cotton in order to possibly make better recreation tables. So with that in mind, I'd love to try to get... I'll set it up here just for a place to craft it. We're actually almost out of floor space to even put... Like, I have no idea where I can even put a billiards table. I guess out here. We are so thoroughly using every square inch of this community that actually poses to be somewhat of a problem. I also want to re-queue up the high explosive shells. Alright, Deef is making transport pods, so there goes my whole stockpile. Oh, and there goes some steel. So, in numbers, you can analyze negotiation ability. Looks like Lanka is my best negotiator. You're also moving at a weakened pace. So, let's see if Luna can go. Sensory Mega Knights, but Sanguine, so that's a good choice. So Luna's going to go on a little bit of a trade run in just a minute. Hyena, the transhumanist, lacks a weapon. A hunter lacks a weapon. I'm going to give you this longsword. Now, the damage to the longsword doesn't really matter. Fortunately for me, it used to, but it doesn't anymore. Wow, no one wants this. Oh, because t-shirts aren't... Yeah, it's not part of the outfit. So Velik here has 2 bionic arms. Once he is up and about, he'll be cranking out good stuff much faster. Mr. Captain Sergio gets to finish off the poker table. Now the reason I'm making better ones is because the poker tables in here have, as you can see, a recreation power, because they're both good, of 146. If I get a higher quality poker table, for some reason it makes the game of poker more fun. I don't ask me how or why that's true. But again, with a good. Yeah. I can still try. Alright, Bob is heading south. Bob, I definitely did not have you bring the Muffalo, so let me do this again. I screwed up. Form caravan of Bob the artist. And animals, yes. Can't forget about the animals. And now head south. Some sort of revenge you got. Now, it was pointed out to me that, again, I brought home the rice, but that wasn't unintentional. At this point, I am stocking this area with kibble because it doesn't rot. It doesn't take up any space in our kitchen for that reason. I'm also fixing the door location because it was unusable as it was before. And now it's actually usable. There we go. Much better. Bob will be here soon to help haul some of this meat back home. And grab the blue fur. One thing I really ought to do is to bury these corpses because they really are probably not helping out with the mood here on the outpost. Let's build some graves. Haul Barclay and Ayers and the silver. We also have some jade down here. I think we hauled... Oh no, we didn't even haul the silver. Alright, Bob is heading down now. He's gonna rest though. Maybe a fair amount of kibble. An excellent poker table. Perfect. I don't even know who finished it. Probably I forced Sergio to work on it, even if he was tired or whatever, so if you look at it, it has a 161 rec power, which means we will spend less time playing poker to regain our cerebral play requirement. And whoever built this one, likewise, it is excellent. Unfortunately, these wooden tables are flammable, but whatever. Don't really care. So we're starting to get some hops harvested. It's just starting to kick off here. Oh, and we're also stockpiling granite for wall repairs, which is phenomenal. This here is going to be for Molotovs. I'm going to copy the settings, paste the settings over here. This one's going to be for EMP grenades. Speaking of EMP grenades, I need to manufacture some, but that's a different problem for a different day. Let me allow the installation of that trap. We can go ahead and deconstruct some old cabling. My rice zone's growing potatoes. I love it. No, it's called potatoes. Okay. So I think we ought to be getting a supply of wort here somewhere. All right, Bob has arrived. Let's see, Endelos. Gonna force you to butcher. Cool, corpse obsession. That's actually really not that bad. Given that he's already seen corpses, that can't really be that bad of a negative mood. Alright, perfect. World, we will form a caravan. I'm bringing everyone home, as I mentioned, because I plan on kicking off the poison ship. And before we head home, I want to reinstall the gun turret over here, so that even when we're not home, we quite possibly defend the base. That's the idea, at least. Having turrets here on dead conduit means that we can turn them on and off. We can't fight fires and things like that, but we can turn them on and off as we please. Eagle needs a weapon. There you go. We also have this charge rifle. At the moment, I think all of our best shooters... I'll give it to Luna. I'm about to send Luna on a trade run, even though I'm about to engage the ship. So Luna is going to take a pod, if I can find her. There we go. And I want to buy advanced components, maybe some neutroamine, stuff like that. Stuff that weighs a reasonable amount. So I'm going to take all of the thrombo horns and some of the masterwork t-shirts, because t-shirts aren't something that we're wearing. Oh, it looks like we might still have the t-shirt queue going on, and all the silver. I see the caravan mass is up over. If I have to add people to the caravan to carry stuff home, that's fine. Let's make sure we're not still cranking out. No, we're not cranking out t-shirts. We just had a lot of spare. Okay, that's good news, I guess. Zero Day is helping with the advanced components. We are starting to get potatoes. So what I'm going to do is stockpile. I'm going to do this forever. Make a whole lot of spare kibble. I need a safer place to store these shells. Is there power running through this? Okay, there's power running through this wall. So what I'm going to do is remove that power. You know, actually, no, I'm not. It's too close to the hospital. That's probably a bad idea. I want the shells near the transport pods. That's a little tricky to do, while keeping them somewhere safe and secure. You know, I'll just load up this pod full of them. Why not, right? The pod won't blow up, hopefully. We did bring the ambrosia home, and that means that I need to refrigerate it or it will spoil. So the ambrosia is, for now, we'll just plop it right in this corner. It is a manufactured drug. Even though we didn't manufacture it, we literally just plucked it. We have some wart cranking out. I'm really not sure where we're storing. Maybe this is the first batch of wart. All right, Luna. Here we go. So she's immobilized, not an issue. Bionic eye, bionic spine. So, shock lance, insanity lance. Selling off my thrombohorns. I was aiming to buy things that are extremely expensive in order to facilitate her weight restrictions. And I'm not sure. Actually, I do need a bionic spine. We did have Bob, I think, with a bad back. So that wouldn't be a terrible thing to buy. It's expensive, though. Looking around to see if there's anything more obvious. How much does that spine cost? Yeah. I could buy Nuturamine instead. And components and advanced components. Maybe I'll buy the components, but then I'm overweight, so that's another issue. So I will try to figure out how many components I can carry. Oh man, I can't carry very much. What about just components? Should have sent a boomalo, muffalo or something. Hmm. 5 advanced components. Okay, I'll just go for the spine. I'm going to want it anyway. And then I'll buy all their advanced components and as many components as I can carry. It's expensive, but... Oh, wow. Dead even. She has no days of food. But given that she's only out there for less than a day... Oh, man, I will need to ship her some food. So instead, what I'll do is I'll go buy some. Really, you only have lavish meals? Seriously? Why? Alright, so how do we afford this? We really can't, can we? There's just about nothing I can sell shy of the components I just bought to feed you. But that actually might be cheaper than to send you food from the base. So even though that is exorbitantly expensive, that's fine. I'll do it. Alright, so here we are getting the... Alright, animals. Go to shelter. Trying to get the animals all set to leave. Who are we waiting on? Oh, we're waiting on Bob. Bob and his bad spine. Okay, we're loading up. The beautiful potato harvest. I am going to sow another batch, seeing if we can't get another harvest before the end of the year. I'm hoping. I'm just looking at their bed rest. So now I have a bunch of explosive HE shells. I'm going to suspend this. We built 5 more. I'm going to keep them in this transport pod, making this transport pod potentially explosive, but that's fine. I have plans for those shells. Alright, so Luna's already halfway home. You guys look like you're just about loaded up. Just making sure they all wake up so we can head home. Now, ideally, what I would do is I would intersperse this, because right now the beauty is... Well, the beauty is sort of in the highest trafficked area, so maybe that's not a terrible idea. Because when you're sleeping, it's not like your beauty increases. Your needs get frozen, except for your rest. So you would want something like a grand statue to be where people walk around the most to refill their beauty. So we're starting to work on advanced components again, which is great. Chris, where are you, Chris? You are sewing an area? No, you are working on components. Well, those daylilies got a little extreme there. We still have stupid recurve bows. Another thing we could do with these bows, let's go ahead and set them up for a gift. It never hurts to get a little, it doesn't add a lot of rep, but it never hurts to add a little bit more rep to our neighbors. So some of these bolt action rifles that we don't exactly, I wouldn't rely on using them. All of these sort of tattered clothing. The marine armor, because it's tattered and... Well, maybe I'll keep it just in case. Leth's uranium plate armor. I need to do something smarter with that. I have a plan. We have a lot of tattered clothing, and this will free up a lot of our space in our stockpile. T-shirts. One of the long-term goals to vote on right now is to make an ally, and this is one of the reasons how to make an ally is to sort of befriend them through gifting. So although that's not exactly what I'm intending to do right now, I am just trying to clean up our stockpile. That's a lot of stuff. Look at this grow machine right here. Heat wave is over, thank goodness. Was getting a little hot. Alright, Luna almost made it. She's actually, I could have her enter. Oh, and these guys never left. Come on. Endelos just like chose to fall asleep instead. Totally productive use of everyone's time. Literally sleeping on the job. And they're going to immediately fall asleep too. So if we are smelting slag, it means we got through the backlog of weapons, which is great. The Psychic Soothe has ended. I'm about to have a huge hay grass harvest too. The pods are done loading, so we'll send this as a gift. Crank out another pod. And they are becoming a fast friend. If we check the, the faction relations, we are becoming pretty close to an ally. You need 80 for an ally. We're definitely closing in. Binging on Ambrosia because she's fascinated. Okay. Vex is... yeah, they're both hungry. That's about to get fixed. Here's another bionic leg. So people that have peg legs are going to be the first recipient. So Knack, that you're actually a very good choice given that you are a very good shooter. So left leg, bionic, rest. Luna is back. She has a spine, an eye, shock lance, insanity lance. So the shock lance and the insanity lance are the best way, in my opinion, to defend against... Well, the shock lance is the best way to defend against doomsday launching. So if an enemy shows up with a doomsday launcher, you can just shock them. Now the problem is, with the community this size, we're likely looking at somewhere in the order of magnitude of half a dozen doomsday launchers. So it's not like I really have enough for that level of defense. I'm keeping an eye on Lanka here. I think we're going to need to... Oh, contents go juice. Yeah, I can release that. I'm going to have to remove the ambrosia because she seems to be cranking through it. So bring to box. Let's load the transport. So she got enough ambrosia. She is not addicted. She's not even unhappy. She's about the happiest pawn. She just got married. It's just this. She's chemical fascination, so sometimes they binge whether they're happy or not. It has no bearing on whether they're binging. So we have shells in one, ambrosia in the other. Behooves me not to forget. Working on bionic arm. We do have some more bionic parts as soon as Luna, wherever Luna is, delivers them. And then additionally, I ought to create some additional shelves for the shock lances and insanity lances. So I'm going to put them... That will kind of obstruct the walkway. I'm going to put them here just so I know absolutely positively where they are all the time. And we have plenty of slate to do that. Now, I did say I wanted to get the poison ship done. I did leave it, though, however. What I will do is send someone to take a pot shot at it so that we can sort of measure what sort of battle we're in for, I guess. I'm also going to have to be cautious about having other pawns nearby. Deep missed. Alright. That doesn't look like fun. 15 Scythers, 12 Lancers, 7 Centipedes. The Lancers are what bugs me. 12 Lancers is annoying. Because they have pretty good range. We're definitely need to use sniper rifles to plink at them. But what I think ought to be done is to set up people with flak vests before we do that. So checking my research, I do have flak armor. So what I'm going to need to do is to crank out some flak vests. I'm going to do until I have 4. And then flak jackets. I want to protect the vital organs. If someone gets their leg shot off, that's a lot less detrimental to this community than if they get their heart blown out. I'll have Velik make those. The problem is that because they require steel and cloth are in almost direct conflict with and components with the advanced components that we're trying to stockpile. We did get the bionic spine. As for a bionic eye, I think it has to go to Wolf. Almost everyone is on the cannibal area. So what I could do to keep them away from this terrible ship is to draw a giant no-go zone around it. And that way they can still be productive and work outside and not murk themselves. And then additionally what I'll do is set everyone up to this zone except for Velik, who stays in the safe zone crafting. That does mean that no one will be able to enter here. Let's review this zone again, actually. Yeah, no one will be able to enter the cannibal kitchen, but it will keep them away from this swarm of mechs. Having a swarm of mechs sitting there is actually not that terrible of an idea. I'd love to get the ship dead, but I don't want the mechs to aggro me, because that's kind of a death stack of mechs, even if I prepped and was ready. Also, animals. My animals will also put you on cannibal zone. I don't want the animals wandering over there either. That would be additionally fairly detrimental. We have so much meat. I think I have to expand the freezer. So we are trying to get through the meat backlog as fast as we can, making kibble and stockpiling kibble. Oh, all of these. So these shelves here, let's see. They are going to be our Doomsday launchers, not that we have any. And sort of the special weapons. Tornado generators. And then the single-use items like the Lancers. Okay. Copy settings. Paste settings. I don't know where this pillow came from. I really thought that we had loaded up and hauled everything away, but obviously that's not true. Well, guys, I'm just about out of time for this episode. So my plan is to hopefully have a group of enemies wander past and weaken this group of mechs. But if that doesn't happen, what I'll do is I'll craft up flak vests and flak armor and have a group of snipers take pot shots and try to whittle down the giant death stack of mechs that are sitting there. But ideally, I would have just 100 tribals or something show up and engage those mechs and do some damage first. That'd be great. If you have any feedback for me, drop me a line. Just a quick reminder, go vote. Really, seriously, go vote. Go influence the way this series runs. You don't need to be a patron or anything. The way this works is the patrons pick and write goals for the vote. So the vote form, all but one of them this week, is patron suggestions. And then you all, regardless if you're a patron or not, just a viewer, can go vote. It's really pretty easy to do. I get a few hundred people voting every week, and I think that's really cool. I hope you guys like the You Pick series for this reason. So go flex your democratic power here and vote. Rhadamant.com or Discord in the announcements section for the voting form. And once again, thank you all very, very much for watching. If you have feedback for me, drop me a line. And if I find it useful, maybe I'll even read it out loud. So this week was Jared Demmel and Dacian Hantig's suggestions. And maybe next week it could be yours. Well, I'll catch you all later. And adios.